Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Vanessa Sulikowski, Distinguished Systems Engineer, Cisco.
Good afternoon, and welcome to our iTalk on innovations enabling transformation and automation in the workplace of the future. And hello to all the people online joining us as well. Now, you probably noticed there's a distinct lack of females in the audience today. Well, it is International Women's Day, and the Connected Women's Lunch is actually on upstairs at the moment. And I poked my head in on the way down, and the ladies are drinking pink gin. So we'll forgive them for not attending. Now, we heard some astonishing predictions in the last couple of days. We heard about driverless hover taxis. We heard about texting by thinking. The singularity is coming. AI is going to be smarter than humans. Cash is dead. Now, personally, I was a little bummed about that one. I found this $2 on the road on Sunday, and it really made my day. And what was the other one? Oh, we're all going to be living on Mars. But that's okay, because there'll be Teslas there when we get there. Now, what I'd like to do this afternoon is probably not talk about such big predictions, maybe some little ones. But what I'd like to do is introduce you to some innovations that's happening in technology that I think all of you need to consider to really future-proof your workplace environments. Now, the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about workplace transformation is a shift to flexible working or activity-based working. Now, activity-based working is where we shift from fixed, allocated, structured desks to a variety of shared workspaces that are aligned to the activities that you need to do throughout the day. Now, whether you call it activity-based working, flexible working, co-working, shared workspaces and activity-based working are becoming the norm in many, many organisations. And the images that you see here are actually from our new North Sydney office. So we relocated just over 12 months ago, and we went through a massive relocation, activity-based working transformation project. And we moved from what was extremely old school, traditional, everybody in cubes, really boxy meeting rooms, spread across 7 floors actually, environment, to what was the shared workspaces and a really great environment. And what we've found is that the employee participation, the employee satisfaction, and the employee attendance at the office has soared. Now, we also did a similar transformation project in our Melbourne office. And in the Melbourne office, we actually did that in situ. So we did a transformation project in the same office. And both of these were extremely successful activity-based working projects. And our facilities people and our workplace resources people put in a lot of great activity-based working strategies to ensure that this was a success. And we'd invite any of you that would like to go through and see those offices and really have a chat to us to go through to Sydney or Melbourne and have a look. Now, activity-based working is not new. Many of you, and we've worked with many customers and partners over the years on shifts to flexible working and activity-based working. And we've had some missteps. We've had some challenges along the way, and we've broken a couple of eggs. And what we've seen is really 5 years ago, and really even 3 years ago, the technology probably wasn't good enough to have successful activity-based working, so where we could seamlessly move from one workspace to another. What we saw is some quite interesting hot desk experiments and open plan office experiments, and we saw space-age furniture, but just not space-age technology to go with it. And the other big challenge, and where we saw some of the least successful endeavours, was where there was a real people, place, and technology mismatch. And most of those projects started with the physical space. And it was only natural, and that's the way that it was always done, right? You had a new building that you were moving into, a new floor, you had a blank canvas. The builders, the architects, the designers, they'd all get around and they had this big space to fill, right? And they'd look at it and go, oh, we'll have some meeting spaces here, we'll put some desks here. And what happened is that technology became an afterthought. And what we ended up seeing is that they needed to retrofit technology, and we ended up with technology just plonked into different spaces. And that led to an environment where we had rooms that were the wrong orientation, the wrong size, the technology in the wrong place. The technology was just way too hard to use. And it ended up that people would just not use the space or completely misuse the space. So where we've seen success and where there has been successful transformation projects to activity-based working is where we've looked at all dimensions. And that all dimensions is looking at the people, the technology, and the space. And looking at it in that order. People first, not space first, people first. What is it that your people need to do? And then what technology could enable them to do those activities that they need to do, and then look at the physical space. What workspace types will provide the best environment for them to do those activities and the associated technologies? And where we've seen a people-centric approach, we've had many successful activity-based working transformation projects. And that's in our customers, in our partners, and at Cisco. Now, the technology has got to a point where I really can seamlessly move from one workspace to another. I can start my work on my mobile device. My mobile device can connect into the office environment, and it's all intuitive. It intuitively connects into the office, and then I have a great experience. Now, you're probably asking then, so what's next? Now, Rowan said that we're in the age of intelligence. Technology and innovations in AI, IoT, smart connected buildings, and connected analytics are going to give us a level of automation and visibility that's much needed in the workplace. And I believe the next wave of workplace transformation is going to be workplace automation. So the next big question becomes is how smart is your workplace? Does your workplace sense you? Does it know who you are? Does it know where you are? Does it automate those routine tasks that you need to do? Does the environment change automatically depending on what you're doing? Do you have visibility of what's going on in the workplace? Do your people know where there's available space and available technology that they can use? Do you have smart technology in every one of your workspaces? And I would say, for the majority of us, that answer is no. And it is smart technology that's going to activate our workspace environments. Now, there's many technologies and innovations that are going to play a part in enabling the smart automated workplace. Now, I would love to chat to you guys all afternoon, and we could go into the evening, miss out on the party, maybe not. So I chose 3. So I thought I'd pick the 3 key ones that I think are going to have the biggest impact in really bringing that level of intelligence and automation to the workplace. And the first one is cognitive interfaces and cognitive interaction. And so this is AI, machine learning, machine intelligence, facial detection and recognition, speech detection and recognition, bots, automations, natural language processing, deep domain expertise, conversational AI. I think I've remembered them all. These are going to provide a level of interaction and automation, and we're going to see things like those routine tasks being automated. Now, I heard a great quote yesterday, actually, I think it was Tuesday, and the quote was that by 2020, we would be conversing with virtual assistants and bots more than we converse with our partners. Now, my husband thinks that I talk too much, so I'm sure he's going to be happy about that one. But if you think about it, if your children grow up talking to technology at home, they're going to expect to be talking to technology when they get into the workplace. Virtual assistants are going to automate all of those productivity sucker routine tasks that we all have to do. Setting up meetings, sending out agendas, reminders, taking notes, setting tasks. All of those pieces can be automated by virtual assistants. And it's predicted that by 2022, every team will have a virtual digital team member. And I think that's a great thing. I really need a personal assistant. I think every one of us would want a digital gopher. Now, number 2 is mobility and location analytics. So who you are, where you want to go to, and where you've been. When we have that information and that data, we can start providing augmented user experiences, but also we can start getting visibility of the movement of our people through the workplace environment. The third one is workplace sensing. And workplace sensing is a really hot topic right now. Everybody is looking for visibility and actual data of how they're using their workplace environments. And so with smart connected building technology, things like connected lighting, IoT sensors, with intelligent workplace devices, and with the connected mobile analytics, we can start getting that visibility of what's happening in the workplace environment. From a user perspective, the users can see the available space. And you will no longer be in the dark about what's happening in the workplace, and the users won't be in the dark about where an available space is. The technology itself is literally going to turn the lights on. Let's have a look at some examples of this. This is not a video endpoint. This is an intelligent workspace device. It has an AI chip built into it. It's the same NVIDIA GPU that's built into a lot of autonomous cars. It can detect motion. It knows when someone walks in the room. It can wake up and greet you. It can let everybody know that the room is in use. You can instantly pair and share and control the device from your mobile or from a desktop. It can detect faces, and it can count the people in the room. It can also recognize faces, and it can do things like intelligent name tags. But it also can control the room. So you could control the blinds, the lights, the air conditioning. You can talk to it, and it will understand you and respond. And it can do all of that passively. So you don't need to be on a video call. And, by the way, it does do amazing video too. Now, with mobility and with the unique proximity pairing technology that Cisco created, the power really is in your hands. So we can use location analytics and hyperlocation to actually use technology like wayfinding to show you how you get to a meeting space. And then the technology is intuitive. It will guide you at what you need to do when you get to a space. You can use that proximity technology. Not only will it detect that you've walked into a room, it'll also allow you to pair and share. Now, when you get chucked out of the room because somebody else has it booked and they want to use the room, what you can do is you could use a Workspace visibility app to find another space that's available and a space that's near to you. And then you can use the technology to move your session from that video endpoint to your mobile device, continue your active call, and then move on to the next workspace. And all of that is through the power of the mobility, location analytics, and those intelligent endpoints. Now, what happens when you get to a new space? So we're using that ultrasonic technology to actually map what a room is like and the response, ultrasonic tone response we get when a room is empty. Now that means that we know as soon as someone opens the door and walks into a room. When they open the door and walk into the room, the technology is going to wake up and it will greet them. It will say hello. And they don't need to have a proximity device or anything like that. It knows just because of that change in the ultrasonic map of the room. Now, if you do have your proximity device, it will actually pair and it will greet you as who you are. It'll say, hello, Vanessa. And in this example, it could be, hello, Anna. Now, it's guiding Anna in what she wants to do. So as soon as you've interacted with the device, as soon as you've walked in there and it's detected that motion, it will actually pop up and guide you on what you can do. And you can see here that it says, tap the panel to get started. Now, if Anna just wants to use the room, it'll actually go back to sleep. And it'll be there, unobtrusive, but there when you need it. But if she does touch the panel, and so she goes over here and she interacts with the technology, what it will do is it'll wake up. It'll wake up and then it will contextually guide her on what she can do. So she can make a call or she can screen share. That AI technology that's built in to the intelligent workspace device actually can do things like detecting faces. So here, that AI detects all the discrete faces that are in the room. And we actually use this technology and audio beamforming now to do our next generation of speaker tracking. And here you can see that the lady right behind me actually has 2 boxes around her face, and she is the current active speaker. Now, it's picking up all of those faces, it's picking up the active speaker, and it's using machine learning to determine what is the best view for the far end. And the machine learning determines that a line through either of the fellows that are sitting next to her is not a good view. And it marks that as not a view to send. And so it determines what is the best view, and that's the square that you can see that we will send to the far end. And it's machine learning technology that's doing that. And it's also counting people. And so you can see here that the people count is the 6 people that are in the room. So now, not only do you know that the room is in use, you know how many people are in the room. Now that same technology can also recognize you. Now, this facial recognition is local processing on that GPU. It's not some kind of big brother thing where we're sending images of you out to the cloud. What we're actually doing is pattern matching. So we match the dimensions of your face, and I do have a very small head, and we determine how the distance of your eyes and all of those things, and that comes up with a dimensional pattern. And that pattern is then matched against your corporate directory photo. And that's how we do the intelligent name tagging. Right? And there's really great use cases for this. If you think about if you've been the far end and a virtual connection into meetings where there's a lot of people on the far end, the other end from you, what we normally have is a situation where we do a scattergun of intros. Right? And they probably go Alicia, John, Addie, Rui, Andre, Diane, and you're lucky if you remember Diane's name, which was the last one, or maybe you remembered Alicia, the first one. Depends on how you think. Most of us won't remember more than 1 or 2. And so now You, as that remote presenter, you know who you're speaking to. You've got that visibility, you see their names, and you don't have to do that interrupt and ask, or be in the dark and then ask somebody after the meeting. And that's really changing those experiences and using those cognitive interfaces to do that. You can also talk to the technology, and it's a conversational AI engine that we're using. Now, hopefully all of you saw the great demonstration that Rowan and Keith did in the keynote yesterday. Right? And that demonstration of Spark Assistant showed some of the power of what we're doing with this deep domain expertise technology that we've focused on the collaboration mechanisms and methods. Right? And so it knows when you say start a meeting or join a meeting. It knows when you want to add somebody into the meeting. You can tell it to record meetings. And it's automating all of those processes that you would have had to manually do. And so this is providing us with that level of automation that really is going to give us some productivity in our meetings. Now, there's many other technologies that have a part to play here. And things like IoT and connected buildings. On the IoT and connected buildings, we're seeing connected lighting. And connected lighting, the use case originally was all around cost savings. But now we can use those as sensors. Now, IoT sensors and IoT got a bit of a bad rap in the last few days. And what I've been seeing in the workplace environment with technologies like LoRaWAN, now we can get high range, high density, low power IoT sensors. And those IoT sensors means that they're exponentially lower cost, and we get multi-year battery life out of them. It's now quite feasible for us to start looking at putting sensors right through a workplace environment. And if we think about mobility and hyperlocation are going to allow us to get visibility of where people are going, how they're moving throughout the workplace environment. And we could start providing things like, with activity-based working, people want to know where their colleagues are throughout the workplace environment. And we could use things like presence, and the way that presence actually showed buddy lists, you could use that to find the location of where the colleagues that you want to work with are. Now, all of these, those intelligent video devices, the connected lighting, the IoT sensors, they all become, and the connected location analytics, sources for workspace management applications. And so we can provide visibility on what space is available to your people, but also you can get a really accurate view, and the more sources, the more accurate view of how the workspace environment is being looked at. Now, these are all outlaid here, and so you can see each of those technologies. Now, they all have their role to play in automation in their own technology sphere in isolation. But the power really comes when we start automating these together. And I want to show you an example of where we've put connected lighting integrated with the video devices, and allows us to not just control and automate the lighting, but actually change depending on what the user's doing. Play the video, please. Pretty cool, huh? Now, I think the real cool experiences and the real great things that we're going to see is when we start integrating those technologies together into an intelligent fabric. And I want to give you, just in the last 5 minutes we've got, a little bit of Vanessa vision, right? So this is a little bit suspend disbelief, and this is where I think our technology could go if we do start bringing all of these together. So I walk into a campus, right? I associate, I authenticate, it knows who I am. It knows who I am and it knows where I am. And my AI virtual assistant also knows my schedule, has access to my calendar. It also knows that I have a meeting coming up and that 3 people that are also in that meeting, who accepted that meeting, happen to be already in the building and connected in a meeting room on level 5. Right? And so it's giving me all of that information, and it will then prompt me with what I'd like to do. Would I like to join them? And if I say yes, it can show me the way to the room. Now, instead of me inputting something into an application, it automatically will send me the best path for me to get to that meeting space. Now, not only could I follow the nice blue breadcrumbs and get to that space, but with augmented reality, it could show me all the things that are around me on the way. So here, it's giving me an ETA that's going to take me 2 minutes to walk there. But it's 12:56, so I've got 4 minutes before it starts. I could grab a quick coffee, or I could go to the loo on the way. Now, if we actually look up instead of looking down and staring at our mobile all the time, the connected lights could actually guide our way. So customized connected lighting experience, we could make available rooms glow green. And then when somebody walks in to that room, change them to that warm yellow colour that we're used to. And so we can instantly see visibility of what spaces are available. And with machine learning, we'll start determining preferences. What workspace types do I like using? And how do I like the environment set up when I get there? Am I a cold frog and I like the temperature turned up, because I really do. And those are the sorts of experiences that I believe that we can start providing. And it's really taking all of that technology and starting and looking how we can deploy it throughout your workplace and start integrating it together. Now, I believe that your goal should be to have smart technology in every one of your workspaces. The more intelligent, the better, because the more information and data you'll get. You know, if you want really accurate data, then you want something that is going to accurately count all of the people that are in the room throughout the day. But even a couple of bucks sensor is going to give you visibility that a space is in use. Anything that is unconnected is going to be a dark black hole. So I think it's when we do start looking at deploying that smart technology into every one of our workspace environments that we really will be able to have that intelligent network of the future. And thank you.